What about now? Did I press the correct button? All right. There we go. That scene I have to fix. It's muting correctly, but it's not turning my mic on. Welcome to Hobby Time. This is Risky Rollers. My name is Carl, and I hope you are in for a cool, chill, relaxed hour and a half. And we will... we're in. Yes, we're in. Let me just pull this down slightly because it's bottoming out. There we go. All right. Press all the buttons. I'll press the button again. There we go. Helps us out. Press the bell notification so that when this goes live, it's a little bit random based on my schedule. So you'll know when the video gets scheduled and you can come and hang out for a little bit. We'll go for about an hour and a half. I need to wrap up at about 1:30ish. So we thought we'd do a little bit of a deviation away from what we've been working on. We have been working on the Nightbringer, which you can see if I go this way, is right there in my camera. It is undercoated. We just have to decide. I need to decide on a technique for that particular one. So I thought I'd move to something that I actually get asked about or talk about frequently with general hobbyists in the community, and it's how to go about painting black. I've been enjoying seeing the fact that the Iron Hands list, Hammer of Verni, has been doing well. So it's given me a really good excuse to get Mr. Caanok out and paint him up for some fun shenanigans. So it's a really good excuse to talk about painting black, which I know a lot of people struggle with. And you know, whether you do it for a display piece or you're doing it for battle ready, it can kind of change how you go about it. So what I wanted to start with talking about is undercoat and priming. I undercoat and prime. Wow, this track is all weird ass pan flute. So maybe let's just go to something else. All right, there we go. I don't have weird pan flute tooting in my ear distracting me now. So undercoating. I undercoat everything always in the same way because I'm a little bit OCD like that. And I've tried many ways over the journey to accomplish this. Sometimes I'm very lazy about it, and sometimes I am a little bit more fastidious about it. But the premise is this: is that I always zenithal prime. Sometimes it is harder than it is a harder zenithal, more focused zenithal than others. For those that are newer to painting, zenithal priming is where you take a model from grey, you black undercoat it with a black primer, and then you do a second priming coat from one angle. Generally, when you talk about zenithal, the word zenithal means from a high arc point. Generally, it's where you want your light, where you imagine the sun to be. So you can imagine a model like literally this view here. If I had a spray can and I sprayed just from this distance here, right, that would be directly down, right, and you could do a little bit of a round, but you would have a zenithal. So the idea is that, and here we have some nurglings that are in a primed state, so I can demonstrate it. So here you have a this is a zenithal prime. You have a if I cover up all the things it should. There we go. It's black undercoat, and you can see there's quite a lot of black underneath there coming through, and it's a lighter color on the top. that gives a nice sketching of where you want the light pattern to be. Doesn't need to be from the top directly down. It could be from the side. If you want a lot of the light colors to be from the front, you can do it from the front. You can do it from the back if you want the model to be framed more, where the light source is coming from behind, where there might be a sun behind the model, or we might have like this effect kind of here, where you've got some light coming at me from the side, both from this from the lamp here and from the sun out that window. Works really well with a slap chop technique, which is where you do a heavy highlight with a dry brush, where you might do multiple highlights. It works really well with contrast. It works very well with inks. It works really well with anything that you are going to use an opaque paint for. You don't need a zenithal in black. Your base black prime could be a grey. It could be a hang on, I got an example here. This is one of Lawrence's Demon Princes that we're doing for him. This is a zenithal where the base was red. So it's a cream zenithal from the top, and it's a red base. So you don't need to do black per se. But it's a good way to have your darkest shadows be dark. When you're painting the model, anytime you miss a spot, your undercoat is the thing that's going to come through. So you need to be okay with what color that is. If it matches your shadow color, perfect. Black is a good one because it's a generic shadow color. If I have no idea what I'm doing, I will always zenithal like this. Never zenithal in white. You won't see it because it's the brightest white and you're going to go over the top of it. But B, if you do see it, you've got nothing to go up to from a highlighting perspective. So you want white to be your ultimate highlight. White pigment also dilutes other pigments and makes them pastel. So a white pigment is never great as an undercoat. So I generally pick between one of two. I will either use in GW terms, it's Wraithbone. I'll either use a Wraithbone if I'm doing warm colors, or I will use Grey Seer if I'm doing cold colors. Black can be either of those. You can have a warm black, or you can have a cold black. I've got some examples here to show you. So these are models that are finished in varying degrees of battle ready / slightly better than battle ready. The two on the left are cold. The two on the right are warm. It's helped by the fact that these two, which are obviously Blood Angels models, one is Death Company, one is just a chaplain, have red and gold and bone feature colors. So having a warm undertone under your black helps bring that all together. Anything that you put on black armor will stick out like a sore thumb. So having your undertone tie in to your black is really good. Here with this Judicia, this is a cold zenithal, and it really highlights the green, and the green is a very bluey green, so it's quite a cold green, and then the red from the leather and the orange on the lantern then pulls that together. And then we've got a bit more of an Iron Handsy theme. This was done to match an Iron Hands lot. And you can see that because we've got the warm colors on the base and the missiles, they stand out. Your eye tends to go straight to them. So there's a few things that you don't want to do if you want to take advantage of this priming technique. Number one is, if you're going to take this priming technique and then go over in black, don't do it, right? Because what will happen is black pigment saturates over the top and absorbs everything. So if you just go straight in with a black acrylic, you will ruin your undercoat. You don't need to do it like that. You don't need to paint black like that. If you're just going to paint, if you wanted to do a battle ready where you're going to, you just want to go black armor as quick as you can. This is a really good example. So here, if you're just going to go black armor with some really light edge highlighting, which you can see like around the edges of the jump pack vents, don't zenithal, just start with black. You can always paint up. It's harder, but you can paint up. Use multiple layers of edge highlighting to get there. Red is going to be a pain in the ass to paint. Like colors like red are always a pain to color over the top of pure black. But don't zenithal if you're just going to paint the armor with a black acrylic. That sounds contrary to the topic of the video, doesn't it? So how do I paint black armor if I'm not going to paint black acrylic over the top of it? Well, I use black contrast. I use black Templar contrast. This is not a GW sponsored video. These are my models. These are paints that I've purchased. So please don't. You could substitute this with any opaque, high movement pigment. Doesn't need to be black Templar. Could be Vallejo speed paint. It could be Army Painter. It could be AK. It doesn't super matter. But the point is that a contrast style paint is opaque. And even though it is very dark, and this looks very dark, you do get some of that highlighting come through from the zenithal, from the prime. Now there's two different spots that I've kind of already gone over, and hopefully you can see that if I do that again and cover up the dreadnought so that it picks out the details a little bit better. There's two different sections on this that have different contrast on it. So the weapons are basilicum grey, and everything else is contrast black. And you notice that I haven't been too funky with like keeping the black off parts. Quite often you need to go in and clean this up anyway, so there's no point being particularly fussy about covering stuff up. You might as well, you're going to go back and overpaint that anyway. So quickest way is just to get in there and do it. And yeah, because you can see here where I've got the Crux Terminatus, I haven't completely covered, because that's going to be a different color, and it's easy to kind of get around, but the rest of it I haven't been too particularly fussed. So what are we going to do from here? So we've got two options. You can do a stark edge highlight, like Mr. Blister Dreadnought over here, or you could do something that's a little bit subtler, which is like what we have here, where we have some dry overbrushing, some dry brushing over the top. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to borrow a little bit from Slapchop, where we've got now our black base. We know the highlighting, we sketch the highlighting out from the top, so I know where that is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a couple of greys. Notice how none of these are white. And we're going to build up some dry brush. And then we're going to go back in with the contrast to blend it back together. The contrast will probably be a bit thinner down, but we want to tie any of the bad dry brushing bits back into the rest of the model. Makeup brushes are great for this. If you got a makeup brush that's got a little bit of a tapered, sometimes you want a big fat makeup brush. Sometimes you want a smaller, more accurate dry brush. But we're going to use this one. You need water. Make sure you'll always have 2 waters. I like having them in clear containers so I can see how dirty the water is. But basically, you have a dirty water and clean water. You get the majority of the gunk off in the clean and the dirty water, and then you get the rest of the rinsing done in the clean. The other thing that you need when you're doing dry brushing is you need something to wick the excess paint off the brush. Anything with a little bit of texture will help you do that. I just use a spare bit of cork. You can do it on paper. Some people have like a textured dry brush palette that lets them wick the excess paint off. Yeah. So what next? We don't want a dry brush, which is a little bit counterintuitive. We want the brush to be a little bit wet. So we're gonna go in. We're gonna get that wet. Quite often, paper drying. What am I trying to say? A dry brush can carry a lot of moisture, so just like wiping it on a paper towel sometimes isn't enough to get off excess water. You're going to get dirty doing dry brushing because you're going to flick paint. I have my trusty handy dandy little face washer that I use for cleaning, and that tends to do a good job of extra moisture, getting extra moisture off. We basically want this. We don't want it bone dry. We don't want it sopping wet, right? So just make sure before you start that you get. We want kind of the brush bristles activated. And so, but we don't want them sopping wet because we don't want them to be like pushing paint where we don't want it. This is quite a light gray. This is Codex. Well, this is old school called Codex gray, but this is what I would call a cold gray. You can get, if you want a bluer tinge, you can go for like something that you might see in a Space Wolves gray. That's got a bit of blue pigment tinge to it. But we're going to go a little bit more just black and white for this, and then we're going to use the colors. I guess one thing just to quickly touch on while I get this paintbrush loaded is there's different ways to do this based on whether you're going to how much contrast you're going to have on the model. If you go, that's got crap in it. If you're going to have there's my big fat laser. If you're going to have not a lot of contrast in the model, then a heavier, I would recommend a heavier edge highlight. If you have, like here where we've got, well, I've put red rims on the shoulder pads, your edge highlight could be a lot lighter because there's more color taking away from the more interest color being taken away from the shine of the black armor. So I've gone ahead, we've got that. Let's load this brush up. What are you working on? Chatteronis, let us know what you've got on your hobby desk. today? Anything interesting you're doing while you're hanging out with me this afternoon? This morning? No, it's afternoon. After 12. I'm not going to stick the whole paintbrush in. It's probably going to be too much more than I really need for this one model. If you're going to do a tank or something, you might get some out, put it on a palette, do something like that. But I'm just transferring from one brush to the other. Something like that. New primes released yesterday. Shame the points and rules are trash. Yeah, well, Tyranids, yeah, haven't really had the love. Haven't really felt the love with from GW this release, have they? Had a bit of a raw shtick after being, you know, in the release box. Alright, well, actually, yeah, handy dandy handle. What is this? 50mm base too big. It is, I need to use the other one. I'm being pretty liberal with this first layer. Just because I kind of want it a little bit flatter at the front. This will darken down quite a lot when we recontrast using that kind of like slap choppier technique. You can already see just with that grey how much lighter the front is with the back. I'm a proponent of if the brush can't hit it, your eye can't see it. So I like this technique for doing armor because it helps you force in some gradients. A really good example of this is like, I can't really get my dry brush in too hard, like into this knee segment, right in here behind the mace. So I'm not going to bother because it'll just help feed the fact that shadow. So we're going to concentrate our dry brush strokes in this arc of the model because that's where his knee's sticking out. Hello, Mr. Liam. How are you, sir? I'm going to avoid the stuff that I've done in Basilicum Grey for now because I'm going to treat that slightly differently. So we just want to try to avoid some of those. But don't be afraid if it looks lighter than you think it's going to be because it will darken down. So you kind of have to have somewhere to go for this technique. Just adding a bunch of bits to termies to look more chaosy. Nice. EC termies, are they? This leg we're going to leave alone a little bit because you really can't see it. There's no light hitting it. So you can actually see really good. This is a really good spot. So camera angle, I should say. So you can see all the lightest bits are up there, and then when we fall through the bits that you can't see from the camera, really you shouldn't go heavy in on the with the dry brush. So the front of this leg part here, that's in shadow over the shoulder, and the back of this leg part here, which is in shadow from the gun, shouldn't get a lot of highlight. If you want a better picture of this, a really good way is take a photo with your camera and see what you can and can't see from that angle. Even if you take the angle from the front, that's where people are going to see the model. So highlight that area. Yeah, to be used as 40k EC Terminator's initial to 30k Cataphract. I said, oh yeah, nice. You can see, in contrast to the actual black, it's quite a lot lighter. Now, I'm not going to bother cleaning this this paintbrush too much, because what we're going to do is we're going to go straight in with the lighter grey. Now, this particular paint's been wetted down quite a lot inside the pot, so we don't have to be too worried about thinning it, but it will. I figured you might have been sick of that 30k Cataphract kit by now. Didn't you do some for your actual 30k Emperor's Children? This paint is a bit wet. So this pass, because it's a lighter grey, we just want to be less heavy. Really more accentuate that where that lightest bit is coming from. kind of like this technique too because it gives a little bit of texture. Quite often these can be quite flat. Sometimes that's cool if you're going clean. My style doesn't tend to be as clean as some others. I like a little bit of texture just to give it some. Now, I'm going to break my rule. I don't want to alarm you, but your Nightringer looks a lot more boxy and shooty than last time. Yeah. Nightbringer. Yeah, it does. it's the Nightbringer is we are undercoated, but I didn't have as much time today, and I need to decide on the technique. I think for the Nightbringer, we're going to do a cool galaxy, like on the inside of the cloak, and the outside will be green, like my old Nightbringer, but the inside of the cloak will be like black galaxy, because I got some cool Turbo Dork stuff that I like to use for that. I just have to think about the best way to do that technique. Now, what was I doing? So we've got two. I'm going to go for a third highlight. Now, I know I said that don't use white, but hear me out. This white is going to be, I'm going to mix it with the paint that's already on my brush from the first grade, the last two layers of dry brush. So it's going to be not straight white. And we want just a bit. I'm going to just put it straight on the brush. I'm going to find my texture scraper, and I'm going to say that's all I've put on, just a little bit. And then I'm going to work that in to my gray. See, like that. And that's their gradient. You can see if you have something to work on your dry palette with, you can see that gradient is actually the gradient that I actually really want. So it's good. And then again, we're going to just make sure that most of that is off. A little bit more, actually. It's not mixed in quite as much as I wanted. And then, again, much lighter this time. I like to think it like directional slap shot, I guess. Like really focused in the spot. Where it is hard to see the difference. But this is where you're really just picking out. And I'm not brushing it. You notice that I'm not like getting in there with it. I'm just using the targeted part to just pick up. Let me get closer. Let's get rid of this dreadnought so it stops pulling the camera. I'm just picking out. A little bit of overbrush is fine. Hopefully this is where you see the big, where you start to see the big contrast difference between the stuff that we're leaving in shadow and the stuff that we're focusing the highlight on. The other tricky bit is that we've got a big cylinder in this leg. So anything that we put on the leg is going to be really pronounced. So we just need to be a little bit careful. What I'm going to try to do is give it a bit more of a cylindrical highlight. So if you take a can, that's the best way to demonstrate this. So you see on this bottle how when it's underneath the light, you have this really distinct cylindrical reflection pattern just here. That's what we kind of want. We want that. We're pretending that this leg piece is in fact the bottle, and we want that effect. Now I could get in here with a normal brush and do this. But I think that's fine. But I want the contrast paint to do the work. Now this is obviously too white to be a Iron Hands, right? But we'll darken it down when we put some diluted Black Templar back on. How do I find handles? I've thought I should get one, but not sure it's worth it. I'm doing mass inventory on big stupid bases, monsters. You need something. So we'll digress to stability a little bit. So if you notice what I'm doing a lot is I'm touching this with both hands quite a lot. Something like this is really great because I can put the handle into my hand, right? And like I don't have, you know, the steadiest hands in the universe. But by connecting my two hands using a big thing like this, you get a lot of stability. I use the smaller ones. I like the older G-dub. Slightly more butt plug, less elongated. But I think the fit and the feel is really personal preference. I've got one of these. This is quite cool. This is a pin vise handle, where you can put a model. You can put a model in there, or what you can do is pin vise a bit. The pin vise holes have little knobby things, so that like you can like pin vise it in place, and it's quite a nice heavy handle. But like this is then, you know, like normal model size. Sometimes you can be lazy, right? So for example, if I was to paint this Nurgling, right, and you've got a bunch of them, you don't necessarily need a handle, but you need something. You need a way to like brace it, and you're probably quite frequently braced against. You can see that when I'm painting, I'm trying to put my hands down because normally I paint with my wrists touching the table. You need to be able to brace. With a big handle, it's a little bit more comfortable. I can kind of do a little more in the air, but if I wasn't holding it, I would have to very, very much be like, you know, in put my hand on the table type of thing. But yeah, I like it. I especially for single models where I'm I would definitely get a handle, but it's about finding one that works for you. So your light source is from the front. No, light source for this is from the top. Right. So that is the direction of my light source. So you can see if I put this in the smack bang in the middle of the camera. Where are we? Up here, right? That is basically the light source. So we've got this part here that we're highlighting quite strongly, where the light is coming down on that angle, and across this top and this arm. You can see like underneath that arm is quite dark still. And then from the back, because Terminators have this big massive caboose, I'm bringing up the highlighting on this particular edge, because this edge is in shadow because of the servo skull, this shoulder pad, this arm, and this leg. Because if we were slightly like that, this leg would catch the top. If I was doing a display piece, you might have an angle that's more like this, right? Where the light source is actually from the front and the back is going to be darker. Or like this, where the back is going to be light, but the front's going to be dark. But most of the time, even if you just pick directly from the top, right? Pretend this light is the sun, and you're going to get light coming down from that angle. You know, and if I was to like pretend I'm the light coming down with my brush, and that's the stuff that I hit, right? Then that's going to be the stuff that has the biggest highlight. I'm not going to hit this part in the middle over here because the light's not going to hit it. So don't paint it. We'll paint it, but paint it darker. You know, again, I'll another example. So we've got the Nurglings here, where the underneath is dark, but the top is quite light. That's kind of what we're going for. All right. I think I'm fairly happy with that. I'm actually going to leave this brush loaded. So don't yell at me, but it'll make sense in a sec. I'm going to leave that there. So. Drink spike. My big cup of coffee. It's pretty cold now, though. All right. What do I need for the next step? You need a palette for this. I'm going to use a hard palette just so it's easier for you to see. You could use a wet palette for this step. You could use a soft palette. So this is what I like to call a soft palette. This is a little fidget toy from Amazon, and it works really well as a soft palette. But just for the demonstration purposes, because it's nice and big, I'm going to use this hard palette. And I've got my, nope, that's silicon grey. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use the soft palette. I'm sorry. I'm going to change my mind. Press all the buttons. All right. I'm going to take our big fat brush. Contrasts work really well either if you're going to do big areas with a big brush, and shadow with a small. If you're going to just do like line shadowing, you need a small one, but generally bigger brushes help you keep away some of the coffee stains. I'm going to get some of this. Now, I'm going to put it now in our palette. Like that. I'm going to take, we'll get rid of this. I'm going to take our clean water. Actually, I've got a bit of excess. This pot doesn't have a lot of black contrast in it anymore, I just realized. I'm just going to use water. And we're going to really desaturate this. You can see already, because I put water in it, it's going kind of bluey. So that's quite a lot of GW's blacks have a lot of blue in them. Now that we have this, that's quite a thin consistency. We're going to go in and go over the top of our highlighting. Now it's important that this goes are everywhere. Even the stuff that you haven't touched, because you want to. The idea is to blend that dry brushing technique in with the rest. This is probably a bit thin. We need some more actual black. It's kind of gone shady. Be very liberal. It's going to go where it wants to go. You kind of let it. The good positive thing about contrast paint is that it will go where it wants to go. And you can kind of let it. Just kind of work it in the spots that you don't want it to pull. Just work it away. Hey, Jazz. Anything you're working on today? So one of the key things with working with contrast is that it will get tacky once it starts to dry. So as it starts to dry, what you can kind of do is go in and just make sure that you're pulling into the places that you want the shadow. And you're reducing the spots where you don't. That's better camera angle. Finished Huron. Very ambient ambience, yes. Use those fidget things to hold paint too, but the AP speed paints will burn through them. Yeah. One thing that I don't recommend you do, because it'll make it glossy, is I know some people use hair dryers and stuff to dry paint, which is fine. Don't do that on contrast. It doesn't work very well. But here I'm just adding more pigment to where I want some more shadow to sit. A bit more on this side. Little bit of Wizard Throne. What's that? We can change it up a bit. How about... yeah. There we go. So yeah, that's now that we need to kind of let sit, and just let that settle a little bit. What we might have to go and do is it's not going to dry enough in time. Is what you might want to do is go back and put some more highlights. Take the greys you were using for the dry brushing and just do some pick outs where you're going to pick out some of that highlighting that we did earlier. But yeah, this technique works basically for anything that you can dry brush, really. It's a really simple way to get highlighting in to a model without actually having to edge highlight. It's not as clean, like I said. It's a dirtier technique. If you're going for real crisp, heavy metal style, your standard layering and edge highlighting is the way to go there, because you can be much cleaner. But if you're looking for some definition, you're going to get into some battle ready, especially. Then this is a great way to do black. But yeah, so we're doing grey. We're not doing black. You could do this with blue. You could go from a black. Instead of using grey as your color, you could use a blue. You could use a purple, works quite nice too, if you want a little bit of something a bit fancy. If you're doing a metallic type model, this works really well for Necrons, where instead of using a flat acrylic, you can use a metallic color underneath, silver. Do the dry brushing through with silver, and then go back in over the top with your watered down contrast, and the edges that it pulls away from will have that metallic edge, because you've gone underneath it with metallic stuff. Yeah. Did you guys have any questions about painting black while we're here? This guy will probably go back and get some metal. I have to decide how I do the weapon. I'm not sure what color. The weapon's just black in the box art, which kind of sucks. So I'm not sure whether I'll go in and do some highlighting there, I guess. Lots of black and white. Oh, obviously it's Iron Hands. Iron Hands are black and white, right? That's a silly statement, but the box art has a lot of, was white on the housing on the Stormbolter. There's white on the cogs on the what are they? Servo skulls. But yeah, I think that's all we'll do today, chat. As I said, a bit of a shorter one today. I didn't want to continue on the Nightbringer because I didn't have a whole heap of time. I wanted to stick to, you know, hopefully just before. It was a little shorter than, it was a little bit quicker than I thought it would be. So but that's okay. If you have any questions, or if there's things that you would like me to highlight or pick out when we're doing some of these hobby times, leave a comment in the video. Me and Lawrence go through all the comments. Yeah, if there's another technique or color you have trouble with, or something like that, let us know. If you like the content we do here at Risky Rollers, pretty please press the buttons, hit the like and subscribe. If you hit the bell notification icon and turn it on all, you'll see when this goes live on the weekend. I can't guarantee doing this every weekend, but we'll try to get at least a couple of hours a weekend done. But yeah, so I think I'm glad it was informative, Val. Appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out, and we'll see you next time for some more. Oh, if you got a music preference too, let me know. I'll put it in the background noise music for next time. We'll see you on Thursday for On the Desk. We'll catch you later. Bye.